This is my audience for my persuasive speech on AI data centers water usage. Before the advent of advanced AI technology, the main fear that we would see come out of movies made in the 90s and the 80s was that artificial intelligence would become sentient and it would attempt to wipe out human life through military or famine or what have you. But the real fear that's coming out now about AI production and the data centers it uses to power these corporations' AI technologies is that the environmental pressure of having a data center that sucks up a bunch of water and uses a bunch of energy that is sourced through means like coal burning or crude oil usage is that this will actually damage our environment so much so that humans die off through completely almost natural resource reasons. It is with that in mind that I propose a solution that is targeted at companies like Anthropic, OpenAI, or Google. I think the government should legislate that data centers should have stricter building limits. They shouldn't be allowed to make them in areas facing low water scarcity. And there is one major solution that I'll come back to near the end of this speech, which I think should be implemented and is the only real way that we can see massive water consumption go way down. Here is the main issue. A medium-sized AI data center in 1 year will drain, the data centers in the US currently in 1 year will drain 1,250,000,000 cubic meters of water, which is equal to the annual household usage of 6 to 10 million Americans. This is an astronomical number, and just the thought of how much this is going to affect the water scarcity in the US, especially in areas where these data centers are being built, like Nevada, Northern Virginia, places like Arizona, places that already are experiencing great water scarcity are going to be further depleted, and the water that is going to be available is going to be far more contaminated than what it was before. And that was Cornell researchers who did research into the data centers, specifically in the US, but we can extrapolate from that data what this would look like in countries with similar demographics and water supplies. An article by the Science and Environmental Health Network says that residents that were living by a large data center in Georgia experienced more water pollution, their water pressure was lower, and outside of water they had environmental factors like noise pollution, light pollution, 24/7 from security details around the data center, as well as like security lights that were on constantly, leading to disruptions in residents' day-to-day lives, especially in regards to water availability. In that same article by the SEHN, Sandra Steingarber writes that an average-sized data center consumes 300,000 gallons of water every day. That's the equivalent of 1,000 residential homes, all in one day, from one medium-sized data center. Now, maybe that wouldn't be a huge deal if that wasn't for the case that in 2021, there were 2,600 of these medium-sized data centers. And now in 2025, or 2026, but for the data from last year, says that these numbers have skyrocketed to almost double, and now now there are 5,500 data centers sucking up 300,000 gallons of water a day. This is extremely unsustainable. All it takes is just a quick thought, and you'll come to realize that if this number keeps rising, and it will, of data centers being produced, this astronomical number of water being consumed is only going to go up. It's only going to go up. Right now it's 1,250,000,000. That's only going to increase. And soon it becomes not the equivalent of 10 million average American households consuming of water a year. Now it's going to increase 20 million, 30 million, 40 million, 50 million. And we're going to see areas like Nevada, Arizona, they're going to completely have a water scarcity crisis. And it will all be because of these data centers that are consuming all this water. So we need a solution. That is why my solution involves not some of the smaller kind of like stop the bleeding solutions that a lot of people are proposing. Some people propose that we simply regulate that you have to make data centers in areas with more water scarcity, because while that would help, especially areas like Nevada and Arizona, and it wouldn't affect places with a ton of water like maybe Michigan as greatly, we don't want our solution to be simply like slow the bleeding a little bit, like give us some time to work with. While maybe we should do that for a second, we need something that's much more strict, much more environmentally friendly, and that's why I believe that we should implement the closed loop cooling system, and the government should regulate this, and they should make sure that you cannot create an AI data center unless you use the closed loop cooling system. This allows the water to be used that cools the data centers to be reused instead of just evaporated or gotten rid of. So it leads to far more water availability, far less water waste. According to SEHN, which is the Science and Environmental Health Network, and this is the same article I quoted from earlier, using the closed loop cooling system could decrease the water consumption of these data centers by 70%, which would mean that a mid-sized data center, instead of using 300,000 gallons of water per day, it would use 90,000. In conclusion, this is what seems like greatest solution to the problem as it currently stands, because these data centers are already created, they're already being created. We need something that is going to strictly stop the bleeding, really. And if that doesn't happen and they continue to use these inefficient cooling systems, this number in water use per year is only going to go up, and that's going to lead to significant ecological issues. It's going to lead to more water contamination, less water availability, more light pollution, more noise pollution. People in some areas already facing heavy water strain are going to run out of water just simply unless solutions like these are implemented. I thank you for your consideration. I hope you found this speech informative.